Hey guys, so today we're going to have a very exciting project for you today. In AWS, if you go to this bucket and you click upload and we add a file, it can be any file, let's say this, and we upload it, you're going to notice, and we go to this and open it, you're going to notice it uploaded this big picture. Now at that exact same time, if I go to this bucket, it uploaded, oh there, it took a moment. Now at 2034, at 8:34, see, this one was uploaded at 8:34:41. It took 10 seconds. Is the exact same picture but way smaller. So we're going to learn how to do this, guys, and this all happened automatically in the background, completely automated process where we used lambda functions in order. So when we did this action of uploading an image to our S3 bucket, it triggered our lambda function in the background to execute a piece of code and re-upload the image to this bucket, but resized. So we're going to learn a lot of things about triggers in S3, about lambda functions, about lambda layers, the logic it requires to make the image smaller, coding in the code editor for ES6 and in lambda. So let's get started from the beginning. So in order to get started, I'll just to stay organized, I'll go and open a new browser, and we're gonna go to, the first thing I'm gonna choose to do is go to lambda. So we'll make our lambda layer first. So guys, if you don't know what a lambda layer is, just to give you a brief introduction. So when you make lambda functions, even if you guys search it up, there's a limit to how big AWS lets your lambda function be. And typically, we're gonna want to use different libraries and in the lambda function, but actually you can't import them directly. Typically there's a couple approaches. So what you can do is lambda offers an option where you, in your function, you can go and you can just upload a zip file, and that would be your lambda function where the zip file contains all of your libraries. But another option is you can create a lambda layer. So here you can see it offers this zip file option if you go to your function, and you can just upload the zip file, and maybe if I make a new window, you write all of your code in your VS Code editor. But the second option is creating a lambda layer. Now all a lambda layer is basically, you can just zip up a bunch of libraries on your machine and add that and just put them here. And this layer, all you need to do then is add that layer to your lambda function, and you'll be able to use that. All those libraries in the layer that you put will be available for you to use in your function. So you're gonna see all that. So let's just start here. We're gonna make a new project. So I'm going to make a new folder for this project here. And so we're gonna start here, open terminal, and you need to have the node package manager installed. You can easily just check if it's installed with npm-v. You really should have that installed if you're looking at a tutorial like this. If you don't, you can really easily just search up download node. You can easily search up download node.js. It's really simple to install. So you should have node installed. So first we're going to start off with npm init-y. I did not type that correctly. npm init-y. So this initializes our npm project. Now we're going to want two libraries. We want a library called the AWS SDK. And the reason we want this is so that we can interact with the S3 buckets in lambda. In our lambda function. And the second thing we're going to want is this library called GIMP, J-I-M-P. Now this is the JavaScript library that we're going to use it stands for JavaScript Image Processing. So this is the library we're going to use in order to resize our image the one that we choose to upload. Okay, now those are done. Now all we need to do is go to our folder, zip this up, let that zip. Once that's done zipping, we'll just call it whatever we want. We'll just call it lambda layer. And now we're gonna go back to our lambda layer, to the lambda service, create a layer. We'll just call our layer libraries and give whatever description we want. Now upload it from our desktop. This one here. We don't need to specify anything here, and we'll just hit create. Now when we make our lambda function, we can add this layer there. Next, we're going to make our S3 bucket that is going to hold our source and destination image. So we're going to have two buckets, a source bucket which will hold our image, and a destination bucket where our image is supposed to go. So let's create the bucket. We'll just call it resize source 227 because it needs to have default name. I'm not going to do anything else here. Create the bucket. No, it doesn't like uppercases. We're gonna create one more bucket. We'll call it resize destination 227 because it needs to be unique. Create that bucket. Now we have our buckets, resize source and resize destination. These are our two buckets. So next we're gonna make our lambda function. So let's create a new function. We'll call it resize image. We'll call it automated resize. Runtime is Node.js 20. So let's create this function where all the default permissions are okay. We're going to modify that so that it can have full access to our S3 bucket. Really simple. So first we're going to add the layer that we just made. This will give us access to those two libraries, the AWS SDK and the GIMP library. So we got to go to our layer, copy this AWS resource number, specify the ARN and paste it, verify. There it is. Add that. we have 2 more steps before we can start coding. I know your guys are itchy to code. So we go to resize the source, and we gotta go to properties. Now we gotta add an event notification. We gotta tell our bucket, hey, when somebody uploads a file to this bucket, we gotta execute this lambda function. So in order for S3, my bucket, to know what function to execute or what even to do on an event, we got to add an event notification. So create event notification, we'll call this resize event, prefix, suffix, I'm not going to mess with this. All we need to do is whenever a put event, which basically means whenever object creation occurs, we're going to execute our function. This prefix thing basically says only apply this event to certain files with a certain prefix. Suffix thing basically means files with a certain ending will only have this function applied to. I'm not gonna mess with this. You guys can customize it and fine tune it as you need for your uses. And now we specify we want a lambda function to be executed. Now which one? We called our lambda function automated resize, so we want that to get executed. Save these changes. Now there's only one last step. We need to give our lambda function the correct permissions to be able to go into S3 and do what it needs to do. So we need to go to our role, and we just need to do a quick, this is the automatically created role. When we created our lambda function, it automatically made this role. Now we just need to add one permission, which will make it really easy for our lambda function to go in there and do whatever interactions it needs. And we're gonna give it the S3 full access. And this is really good for learning purposes and simplifying the process of making sure our lambda function has enough permissions to do what it needs to do. So now that's attached, and you can clearly see that from here if I refresh it. And even if you refresh this up here, see here now S3 got added, and you can even see all resources, and by action it can do all actions. It can do the actions to all resources. Now guys, we get to code. So even if you refresh this, you're gonna see S3 pop up here. Watch, see S3. Now guys, we get to code. Now let's get started. So first, you got this function. This function gets executed whenever the S3 bucket gets a file. This will get executed, and it'll pass an event object. So this event object will have some properties and stuff, and it's basically passing information to our function about the event so that we can do what we need to do with it. And the function's called handler, and you can see here when at runtime it looks for a function called handler. So this name is very important, guys, and it looks for that function in an index file. So go to your index and look for the handler. So that's what it looks for, how it works during the runtime. Now let's start building this code. First, we're going to import the libraries that we need for this video. The AWS SDK and GIMP. This is what we added through our Lambda layer. Next, we're going to create an S3 object to interact with the S3 service and make a variable holding the name of our destination bucket so that to use later. Now we're going to make a for loop. When we make an upload to S3, if you didn't know this, guys, we can upload multiple files at once. So let's say if I want to upload, I can add files. Guys, if I go to screenshots, if I go to pictures and screenshots, guys, we can upload all these files at once. And that's the reason it's a for loop. You see, we're going to loop through each file that gets uploaded, and we're going to, like, even if I, and we're going to loop through each file that gets uploaded and then do our operations accordingly. So when the event triggers, it's going to pass the event object to us. S3 will pass in the event object and it'll hold information. And then we can use that information in our function to do what we need. Now you might be asking, what information do we get passed? I see here you're calling a .records property. I don't know that it had a .records. How am I supposed to know that? Well, there's a simple way to know what information gets passed into your Lambda function. We can use the event. We can use this test template. So right now I'm just going to call this test1, and if I go here, we're going to look for the put event, S3 put. If you remember, guys, in the properties, this gets executed on a put event. So that's what's going on here. That's the type of information that'll get passed to us. S3 put. So see, all of this gets passed to us. This bucket, this bucket.name we're going to use, object.key, all of this. This is what's in the records for each file that gets uploaded during an upload. So if I uploaded those 5 files, there would be 5 of these objects. So you can explore that and see all the different things. But for each record, we're going to do the following. So for each record, we're going to get the bucket name that it got uploaded to and the key. The key is just the name of the object that gets uploaded. So if I upload a file, whatever, like ball.jpg, that's the key. And we're going to store it in this object params. And just for learning, we can console.log it if we want. We can console.log this object key and this bucket name. So you're gonna see this work now, guys. So, and also you'll get a chance to understand how to debug your Lambda functions, one of the most common ways. So let's deploy this, and now you're gonna see your Lambda function working. So it's by the time I upload an image, it'll be deployed. So if I go to buckets, or not buckets, I was already in my bucket. So if I upload an image, add files, and whatever, I'll just upload anything I wish. Upload these 2 files, this got deployed. These got uploaded. Now, how are we going to see where did this get logged? I never ran it here. Good thing I asked. See, guys, if you go to CloudWatch, you gotta search up, if you don't have this pinned, you can easily just search up CloudWatch and you'll get there. I have it pinned, but okay, for you guys, I can just search it up. So here, you go here and you go to log groups. Now, you're gonna notice there's a bunch of things here, but you're gonna find your function here. I called mine's automated resize. I got a bunch of things here. Okay, automated resize. You're gonna find your function and you're gonna find the logs. So this is where it's almost like the console log goes to here. So you're gonna see it now, guys. So 2 logs came, and this is where we're gonna see those console.logs we were looking for. So the name of so we got the name of the bucket and the name of the image. And that's the exact image I uploaded. Screenshot 616 whatever. And same thing for the second log. Bucket and screenshot. So those are the names. So now you saw your lambda function is working. Let's continue to resize it. Now we just need to resize the image and re-upload it to our destination bucket here. Let's get to work on that. First, we will make a try-catch block in order to make it easier for us to debug in case anything fails. Next, we will create a variable called input data, and we get the object and we pass the that we just uploaded, and we pass the parameters in order to specify which object we are looking for. In this case, the for loop will go, and for each object, it'll get the data that comes in. So that's just the image, the data to make the image file that we uploaded. Next, we want to convert it to a buffer. Now what is a buffer, guys? A buffer is a built-in class in Node.js to handle data in an efficient way. And the conversion to a buffer is necessary because in GIMP, the read function expects a buffer. So first, we're going to make a variable called input data. This variable holds the data that makes up our image file that we upload. We use await and promise, which basically means if we hold a big file, we're going to halt the whole thing, our whole function, until this variable has its value. So we don't try and do other things in the background asynchronously, and this variable only has its value halfway. It's about, you should learn what the await keyword does. So next, why do we convert it to a buffer? The conversion to a buffer is necessary because the gimp.read function expects a buffer file path or URL as its input, and buffers just provide a way to handle raw binary data in Node.js in an efficient way. So this is very important for image processing. So next, we take this buffer and we input into the gimp.read function. Now we have resized the image and now with this line we have resized the image into a 200 by 200 image. So now we got our image. Now the last step, guys, is to just re-upload it to our destination bucket. So okay, now guys, we have resized the image with this line. Now all we need to do is convert this resized image back into a buffer object so that we can re-upload it into the destination bucket. So that's what this code is doing. It's taking the image, this is an image, it's resized, and now we just got to convert it back into a buffer and re-upload it to the destination bucket. Now guys, it's the final stretch. After this our function will be done. Now we have reconverted our resized image back into a buffer, and we just need to get the details of the destination bucket to re-upload the image. So this target file name will just be the name of the image in that our image will hold in the destination bucket. I don't care about changing the name because it's in a completely different bucket. I don't need to care about duplicates. I'll just give it the same name as object key. Next, we're gonna just make a object to hold all of our upload parameters. So this is the destination bucket name, target file name, and the body is the resized buffer. So this is all the information, this is all the data that actually makes up the image. So that's what we're uploading back and specifying the content type. Then we use the s3.put object function in order to upload it to our destination bucket, and we're going to console.log an image uploaded successfully if all goes well. Now we just deploy this function. And guys, don't worry, I'm going to upload all this code in the description of this video so you guys can see and easily follow along. So now let's go and upload an image, and we're gonna see it in our destination. So let's upload, click upload. Oh wait, no, I didn't add a file. Let's go. Let's just go to my okay, let's go and upload these two images. Okay guys, let's go and upload some images to test our function. Let's just upload these two and upload. So now they are uploaded, and let's just open them up here just so that you can see it. Open and open. Now let's go to our destination bucket, hit the refresh again. Why don't I see them? That is concerning. Did I specify this correctly? Resize this in my code. I did. And at times like this, guys, that's why CloudWatch logs is important. We can now debug. Okay. Why isn't this happening? Oh, task timed out. Okay, guys. I forgot a very important thing in our lambda function. Guys, whenever you're building the lambda function, because, okay, this timeout is 3 seconds. We're gonna just change this to 5 minutes. My lambda function timed out. That's why it didn't work. Okay, so see, guys, you can debug with the CloudWatch. Okay, now we're gonna just try this again. I don't even need to redeploy it because I didn't make any change. We just need to upload more images. So it just timed out. We're gonna go back here. I'm gonna delete all of these and re-upload them. Okay, those are deleted. And go back here, upload my files. And hit the upload. Now, it might take 10 seconds, but 2 images should be there. Oh, there we go. Okay, so before we open that, we can open up these. So let's open up this, and you're gonna see it's a big one. You're gonna see this is a big one too. Now, here, you got these ones, and they are the resize to the smaller size. Now, guys, we have learned so much. We have learned about debugging lambda functions, lambda layers, CloudWatch, S3 buckets, S3 events. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I'm going to leave the code in the description. Please subscribe. It really helps support the channel, and I really hope you learned something. Thank you and have a wonderful day.